Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This would be your third lecture related to foreign exchange risk, and in this lecture we will be discussing four different theories one by one. Now, the first theory is the purchasing power parity. As I have also discussed this theory in the last week's lecture, but because it is the content of this the whole the component of the four theories, so I just want to discuss this again in this lecture. When we talk about purchasing power theory, so actually it suggests that the exchange rate between two countries depend on the relative inflation rate within this respective countries, as because an inflation rate gradually decreases the purchasing power. So obviously in different countries, when you have a higher interest rate, so as compared to the other country, so obviously over there your prices of things would be higher as compared to the other country. Actually this purchasing power parity theory is based on law of one price. And according to this law of one price, it suggests when there is no transaction cost or taxes, like in the tariff and other things between the countries, and there's free trade between countries. Then this will actually will adjust the prices because people is willing to purchase from those countries where they can buy the thing cheaper. So in this case, at the point comes when the price become one, and then you have one price of all the similar goods in different countries. This is actually the purchasing power parity theory, but it has certain limitations. We will discuss these limitations in the next slide. As when we talk about purchasing power theory, so mostly this theory is based on expected future rates, and obviously when you estimate something, it's just an estimate. You cannot calculate 100% correct idea of the future interest rate. The market mostly is dominated by speculative transaction, like most of 99.98% transaction are not done according to your expectation, as opposed to trade transaction. Therefore the purchasing power parity theory break in this condition. Another important factor is that when the exchange rate are lowing, are actually going down, so obviously it's the responsibility of the government to manage its exchange rate. So when government intervene for the management of exchange rate, so then obviously these forces defy towards pressing towards purchasing parity theory. Obviously another factor which is very important is the capital movement, the amount, the capital shifting from one country to another. But this purchasing parity theory ignores the movement of capital on the impact of movement of capital on exchange rate. So obviously we can say that this theory is not applicable in that case. It may be useful in the long run. In the short run, it cannot give you a good result, but on the longer run, it may be useful because it can give you an estimate of the long term exchange rate, or it give you a long term vision of the future expected exchange rate. Interest rate parity theory is another theory which suggests the determination of exchange rate, that how this exchange rate is determined. So according to the proponents of interest rate parity theory, this suggests that the difference between the spot and the forward exchange rate is equal to the difference between the interest rate available in the two currencies. Like you do have different countries, and in different countries there are different nominal rate for deposits. So according to them, the difference of forward spot exchange rate in different currencies is due to the difference in a difference rate available in different currencies. And what is actually a forward rate? According to them, the forward rate is the future exchange rate agreed now for buying or selling in the an amount of currency on an agreed future date. Obviously, when you decide that we will buy this thing in is this price at this rate at some future date, so obviously that rate would be called as a forward rate. Interest rate parity theory can be explained with the help of an example, because when you are investing in different countries with having different currencies, so you can get return from two things. One is the difference in exchange rate, and the other thing is in the amount of interest. So first of all, if you look at look at this example, there is a UK investor who want to invest in a 1-year US bond, which is offering 99.2% interest as compared to the similar risk of UK bonds, which is offering 7.12%. The current spot rate is $1.5 to £1. So if that the person in having 1 million pound invest in a UK bond, at the end of the year he will get 1.0712 pounds. But the same person, if invest in a US market, so for obviously first of all he has to change his 1 million pound into $1.5 million. So that would be that, and then after that he will invest in the bond, the bond with interest 9.2%. He'll get 1.638 million dollars. Now, in 1 year, 1.072 million pound must be equal to 1.638 million, so that you gain in extra interest. You lose on an adverse movement in exchange rate. If you have an adverse movement in the exchange rate, so you will not able to gain a benefit. But if the interest if the exchange rate moves in a positive way, then it will give you benefit. So any attempt to fix the future exchange rate by locking into agreed rate now will also fail, because you cannot decrease that risk. So the forward rate moves to bring about interest parity amongst different currencies. Dollar 1.638 million divided by 1.0712 million pound is equal to 1.5291. So this would be the new exchange rate between the currencies. Now, if we want to calculate forward rate in 1 year by using interest rate parity formula, we can do it with the help of this. Like forward rate is equal to spot rate multiplied by 1 plus interest rate in the counter country and 1 plus interest rate in the base country. This can be explained with the help of example. Now, a treasurer can borrow in Swiss francs at a rate of 3% per annum, or in UK at the rate 7% per annum. The current exchange rate is 10 Swiss franc is equal to 1 pound. Now, what is the forward rate of exchange for a delivery in 1 year's time? So using the same formula I have told you, we can take the spot rate as 10%. 1.03 is actually the interest rate in Swiss franc, and 1.07 is the interest rate in UK. So we can get the exchange rate, forward exchange rate as 9.6262 Swiss franc is equal to 1 pound. 1 pound. The interest rate power parity theorem also has a certain limitation. The main limitation is that as we are talking about investment in capital market, because majority of time when other when you have your countries are open for investment, so mostly people want to invest in capital markets, but government might intervene in controlling different aspects of capital market, so it cannot give you that kind of result which is being discussed in power parity theorem. Secondly, the currency control by the country. They many times government intervene in making foreign currency market stabilize, and not only that, they can influence the exchange rate as well, and also they can control the currency trading. They can restrict the inflow and outflow of capital. So in that case, this kind of theorem cannot be applicable when a government is actively monitoring the capital markets, trading of your currencies, and the increase and decrease of exchange rate. So in that case, this theorem would not be applicable. Now we can take another example for this theory, and we can see that in case when you have non-annual period, how you can determine the forward rate. Like for example, a company based in US, the domestic short-term US dollar interest is 3% per year. The equivalent rate in euro is 6% per year. The current exchange rate is 0.94 euro is equal to $1. And we have to calculate the forward rate predicted by interest rate parity in 6 months and 2 years, assuming that interest rate remain constant over this period. Now in case of 6 months period, we have to first find out the interest rate for 6 months, as they have given us an annual rate. So for US dollar, 3% would be multiplied by 6 divided by 12, which will actually give us 1.5% in case of US dollars, and in case of euros, 6% multiplied by 6 divided by 12 is equal to 3%. So in this case, the forward rate would be 0.94 multiplied by 1.03 divided by 1.015, which will give 0.954 euros to dollar. So this would be a 6 months forward rate, and in case if you want to find out the interest rate for the for the 2 periods, so forward rate for the first period would be 0.94 multiplied by 1.06 divided by 1.03. It will give us 0.9974 euros per dollar. And for the second period, what we'll do is we'll multiply 0.9674 multiplied by 1.06 divided by 1.03, which will give us 0.9996 euros per dollar. Or if you want to do it in one calculation, what we'll do is we'll take the forward rate, that is 9.0. Sorry, we will first take the spot rate, that is 0.94 multiplied by 1.06 power 2, as it is for 2 years, divided by 1.03 power 2. So it will give us the forward rate for after 2 years is 0.9996 euros per dollar. So we can also calculate a forward rate by making some addition, or by making some adjustment in order to find out the interest rate for per month wise also, or for different years. Now the third concept which is related to this exchange rate determination is the Fisher effect. And when we talk about Fisher effect, so according to the Fisher, the money or nominal rate is made up of 2 components. The underlying rate of return, which is called real rate, and the premium to allow for inflation. Like the prevailing nominal rate, they are talking about the prevailing nominal interest rate, like which has been offered in the in any investment or offered in the market. So according to them, this is a nominal rate, and this nominal rate not only contains the required rate of return, but it also contains a compensation for inflation, because with the passage of time, obviously your purchasing power of your money would decline, or the things are becoming expensive, and people are losing their purchasing power. So in that case, the people have to be given the inflation premium. So they are saying that the nominal rate not only includes the real rate of return, but it also includes the premium from inflation. Like it can be expressed in the formula like 1 plus I is equal to 1 plus R plus 1 plus H. So it include both the real rate and the the inflation rate premium. So the International Fisher Effect claims that interest rate differentials between two countries provide an unbiased predictor of future changes in the spot rate of exchanges. Like, because according to them, the interest rate is different, because in the different countries there is different inflation rates. So mostly the spot rate is determined by spot rates of exchanges, or changes in the future spot rates actually is determined by the changes in the inflation rates of that country. So that it assumes that all countries have same real interest rate, like everybody is compensating, everybody is giving a good rate of return on interest, but still the nominal rate are different, because there is a different inflation rates in different countries. So the inflation rate differences between two countries should be equal to expected inflation differential. Like if we could assess the anticipated interest rate, or anticipated inflations in the future, so we can also expect that how their inflation, their exchange rate would be change or increase or decrease. And according to them, the countries which has high inflation rates have high nominal rates. So because obviously when your country has high inflation, so you have to give more compensation to the people for their losing purchasing power. So that's why they suggest that in the countries where we have high nominal rates are those in countries which have high expected inflation rates. But this theory also has a certain limitation. Majority of time, the same kind of limitations are there for each theory. Like according to many theorists, you cannot take interest rate as a good predictor, because it's not an unbiased predictor. It has certain other things which influence interest rate. So we cannot only use it to predict the direction of exchange rate. And there are many other government interventions, like most majority of time government take strong actions into control their exchange rate or many other factors. So in that case, this Fisher effect would be not effective, or it will not be proved true in these cases. Now, according to pure expectation theory, it suggests that the forward rate, which is being currently determined, it is actually an unbiased predictor of future spot rate at the time in the future. Like when this forward rate is determined, is actually based on the expectations of the people, and this actually is a rate which would be in the what would be the spot rate for the future. Like if a trader takes the view that forward rate is lower than the expected future spot price, so they think it's an incentive to buy forward. So in that case, they will continue to buy forward, and the buying pressure on the forward raises the price until the forward price equals to the market consensus view on the expected future spot price. So it is actually, according to this theory, it is actually the expectations of the people and expectation of the traders which can give give us a forward rate which can be used as a predictor for future spot rate. But this theory has many limitations, and we cannot take it as as a 100% true predictor, because a certain time it would forward rate would become an unbiased predictor or poor unbiased predictor, and sometime it can variate at one level, and at certain time it can variate at the other level, so it cannot be considered as a purely unbiased predictor. So obviously it has its limitation of its own. This is actually a four-way equivalence, and this four equivalence actually shows the four theories we have discussed. Like if we look into the first, that is difference in interest rates, which is actually the interest rate parity theory, which suggests that the difference between exchange rate is due to the changes in the interest rate in different countries. And once this transaction cost would be eliminated, and so everything would become equal. So in that case, the exchange rate would be equalized. And then if we look at the other way, like a difference between forward and spot rates, and we have discussed that pure expectation theory suggests that the current forward rate would be a true predictor of the future spot rate. In that case, we can say that pure expectations theory would suggest that expected changes in rates would be due to the expectations of the people. Then if we look into the Fisher effect, which actually takes as inflation as a true predictor, or inflation as a pure difference between different exchange rates. So according to that, if there is difference in different exchange rate of the countries, it is not due to the real rate of return, but it is due to inflation in different countries. And the same is the case with purchasing power parity theory, which also suggests that the difference between different exchange rate is due to the inflation level of that the different countries. And if there is no transaction cost, and there is free international trade, so this difference would be equalized, and we have one price for same basket of goods in different countries.